Hi and welcome back. It is now cabbage season. The optimal time to get cabbage is now because all the spring cabbage has been picked and you can get these fairly cheap at the store. Every culture has a way of preserving their cabbage. Asia has kimchi. Europe has kraut and stuffed cabbage and everything else like that. So America, we tend to take off of everybody else's culture because we are the melting pot. We have, all of our immigrants from Europe and Africa and Asia. Everybody comes here and they share their food recipes with us, and then and we kind of go off of that. So let's go ahead and I have one head of cabbage here. We're going to do a little bit of kraut and some stuffed cabbage. We're going to make a little bit and freeze what we don't use for lunches and have some dinner. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to take off the big leaves, get rid of the ones that are kind of damaged like this. Give those to the worms. And then we're going to go ahead and peel the bigger leaves off until we can't peel anymore. They start ripping and tearing, that's fine. We'll just start from there and cut everything else up for kraut. A lot of people cut the core out. Hi! Thank you for opening the door. Like I said, a lot of people cut the core out and then ferment the whole cabbage to have it easier to tear apart. We're not going to do that much. One head of cabbage will, for stuffed cabbage, will last us quite a while, several meals, in fact. So it's not a huge deal if they start coming apart on us. But if you're going to process the entire cabbage and its leaves, I highly recommend either fermenting the cabbage or boiling it, keeping it in nice hot water so that it comes off easier. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and boil these to almost done so they're a little bit more pliable. You really don't want to stuff them raw. See how they're getting a little bit smaller every time you take something off? You also don't want to take as much off to where you can't make a wrapped cabbage. And that one tore up too much. Try to get another one. Yeah, these are starting to tear up too much to where we're not going to be able to use them to wrap. So we're going to go ahead and make kraut with the rest of this. So this is going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got 11 here. Alright, so what happened this week? We had a little bit of a scare. Ayla got into something with our dog. If you're just joining me, we do have a dog. She's 6/8 Catahoula, 1/8 Pit, and then 1/8 Bloodhound. She's got the markings of the Pit. She's got the spots of the Catahoula and the attitude and energy. And then the howl of the Bloodhound. Trust me, it's there. She got into something. We don't know what. We're trying to figure that out, of what she got into, because all of a sudden her lips got big and we had to take her over to the emergency vet. She got a shot of steroids and histamine to stop it. So she's good now. I am making yogurt because the steroids have messed up her system. So she can get her probiotics that she needs to be able to calm her stomach down. Along with her chewy vitamins and treats. So I'm in the middle of doing that. And we're going to go ahead and make some sauerkraut. I don't know if... I know she likes cabbage. She likes cabbage a lot. I don't know about sauerkraut though. So we're going to go ahead and experiment with that, because that'll also add extra different types of bacteria to her gut system to be able to get her digestive system on track. But we'll see if she likes it sour or not. She doesn't like fruit, I've noticed. I tried giving her some watermelon yesterday, and she wouldn't eat it. Tried blueberries, won't eat it. Strawberries, bananas, I've tried them. Haven't found a fruit yet that she goes crazy over. But anything squash, anything green and leafy, anything vegetable. She likes carrots, but they have to be cooked. She can't eat. She doesn't like them raw. Likes avocados though, and she doesn't have a reaction to those. So we're working on it. We're trying to see what happened. Once everything is chopped, we're going to go ahead and put it into a bowl. This is going to take about 2 tablespoons of salt, and we're going to leave this soak in the salt and make its own brine for a few hours. And the finer that you shred the cabbage, the quicker it krauts. You don't want nice chunky, you want thin slices. Now that we have everything cut up, there's 1, 2 tablespoons. I buy my salt in bulk at my local Asian store. And I go about through 4 of these a year because I do a lot of preserving, cooking, and fermenting. Now with this, you want to make sure that all the salt is distributed as evenly as possible. You can use a bigger, flatter, like Tupperware. It'd be easier. Mixing it up like popcorn like this works as well. And if you want to make it Bavarian style, add a tablespoon of caraway seeds, and you want to do this now. Mix it up. Ideally, you want to leave this on overnight. Just cover it up so bugs don't get into it. And leave it room temperature. Now, depending on where you are in the United States, room temperature can either be 130 degrees or minus 30 at this time. So use your good judgment. You want room temperature to be around 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that it's been a few hours, let's go ahead and start putting everything in a jar. If you squish it, you can see all the water that's coming out of the cabbage. This is the reason why spring cabbage is a lot better than the winter cabbage, the stuff that you get in the fall, because that's the second cropping, and it's not as, it doesn't have as much water content. Unless you have years like this where water is coming down about once a week, on your days off, by the way. And the water content should be better, but that's the reason why spring cabbage is a lot better than fall cabbage. We're going to go ahead and put this into our jar, but you're going to put it in little bits at a time. And you're going to get, I call this my kraut pounder. You can buy these on Amazon. They're kind of like a wooden muddle. I made this from a tree that we brought down about 10 years ago. I made more than one because Lord knows I'm going to lose one, or if not all of them eventually. What you want to do is that you want to pound it little by little in the jar and release the moisture that's inside of the kraut. You notice that I'm not rinsing this either. All that salt is still on the kraut, and we want it there. Now that I have everything in one jar, the jar that I was using was a ½ gallon. It was a little bit too big, so I was able to put everything into a quart jar. Just make sure it's wide mouth. I love these fermenting lids. I have never seen one in a regular mouth size. They're all wide mouth. So you want to make sure that the jar that you're using is a wide mouth jar and not the regular mouth. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's easier to get in there and get it out. But I'd like to have options, because not everything that I ferment requires a wide mouth jar. Because I do ginger bugs and kombucha and everything else like that that really doesn't need something this big. But as soon as you're done, put the weight on. Make sure that the weight, the food is right about where the bottom ring is, so that way there's room for the weight. And once you put the lid on, it's going to release some more of the liquid. If you see, if maybe, oh, here's some liquid. It'll squish it down a little bit more. Now, whenever you let this ferment, it's going to take about, give it a week. If it's not done yet, give it another week. The big jars, whenever I do a big batch, is about 4 weeks. I'm guessing this is probably going to be about 2, possibly 3, depending. But you're going to want to put this in a bowl. Not a dish, but a bowl. It's going to have a lot of, it's going to lose a lot of water whenever it ferments. Now here we're going to go ahead and get that hot water nice and hot for the cabbage leaves. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of salt. Now this salt we're not going to ingest. It's just going to help flavor the cabbage leaves. And once it gets nice and warm, I'm going to put these in one at a time. And you can do them in batches. You want them to get soft, but not fully cooked all the way. That way they're pliable and you can stuff them. Okay, and in a pan, we're going to put in about 1 pound of ground. You can use beef, pork, venison, anything that you wish. And we're going to go ahead and brown this. Now what I was taught, and I still do it to this day, put a little bit of salt at the bottom. The salt will intermix with the meat and fat, render the fat, so that way whenever you drain it, you'll have nothing left but the meat. Now it's fully browned. We're going to drain this and set this aside. Alright, now in the same pan, we're going to go ahead and add the fresh vegetables. Now this right here, I don't have any celery, but the Swiss chard, the stalks are so big that they can be we can actually use this as a celery substitute. Because of all the rain that we've had, they're amazingly huge. I am not going to have any problems with green leafy vegetables this year. And we're going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, 1 tablespoon of cilantro. I actually made cilantro sauce, froze them up, and put them in little ice cube trays. They're about a tablespoon a pop. And about 1/2 cup of the flat leaf Chinese chives that I have outside that need another trimming. I can only freeze so much of this. And once that all gets nice and mushy and soft and unfrozen, we'll go ahead and add the meat back and then our spices. In the meantime, don't forget the cabbage leaves. Like I said, you want them nice and pliable, and you kind of want to do this in advance, not right last minute, because handling these at a high temperature, at boiling temperature, is not fun. So if you need to do this last minute, go ahead and parboil these and then do a flash cool down in a freezer. So that way at least you can handle it while stuffing. You may lose 1 or 2 of the leaves because they may rip. That's fine. That's why you do more than you can. Alright, add your beef back in. Alright. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon pepper. Then 1 teaspoon of cumin. Ground cumin. Half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. garlic. I'm putting half a tablespoon in there of the garlic flakes. These are actually garlic flakes. I don't have any ground garlic on me, and it's too early to pick whatever I have in the garden. And a half a tablespoon of ground onion powder. Here is where you want to test to make sure it has the right taste for you. If you want to add Worcestershire sauce, you can. I am actually going to add a little bit of my barbecue sauce. Now, if you haven't seen that, a couple of episodes ago, I fermented some red sweet peppers. Took about a week for it to ferment, and then made barbecue sauce out of it. We've already gone through a jar of this. So I may need to do this again. And give it a good taste test. See if it needs anything. Nope. It is perfect. You're gonna let this, take this off the heat so it doesn't burn. And let it cool down a little bit. Now that everything is cooled off, let's go ahead and wrap up our stuffed cabbages. This we're not going to go ahead and use because it's almost too gone. But this one is wonderful to stuff. Go ahead and add a good spoonful in. Now, once everything is cooled off like this, if you want to add cheese to this, now is the perfect time to add cheese. You go ahead and flip up the two sides, kind of like a burrito. Don't worry about overstuffing or overstuffing or understuffing, because if you understuff it, you can just add more of these. If you overstuff, you've got a cabbage burrito. Here we go. Now we have 3 leaves left, so that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 cabbage rolls. This we can go ahead and the dog will probably eat it. She likes cabbage. Top off with some more of the barbecue sauce. And like I said, if you want to add cheese on top of this as well, Parmesan goes really well with this. Okay, so you want to actually put this into the oven at 325 for about 40 to 45 minutes. Get it all, because everything is cooked. Here, you can serve this right now. It's better warm. Let's go ahead and preheat our oven to 325 Fahrenheit. And we'll be back in about 45 minutes. Okay, we pulled this out, let everything cool a little bit. I have some sweet potato with homemade butter that Grandpa made, salad. And there you go. If you want to add a little bit of sour cream and or Parmesan to this, I've actually got some sour cream. Let me get it. Add a little bit of a dollop. And there you go. Okay, so that's what you can do with a head of cabbage. That's what we always do with a head of cabbage. I make sauerkraut and stuffed cabbage. Sometimes I do some other cabbage, but I like that to do that in the fall, especially with the fall cabbage because it doesn't have so much moisture. It's easier to fry that up than it is in the springtime with the spring cabbage that has more moisture and is easier to ferment. So because of the cloudiness, I'm going to try to get some of the northern lights that have come down here to Texas. We weren't able to get anything yesterday because it was raining. Today is not much better. So I am actually okay with not getting this and seeing this because I could always go north to see it. The solar eclipse that we had was pretty much once in my lifetime because I may not see that again. You never know. Experience the experiences while you can. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you next time.